What up, everyone? This is Mr. Lord, Dr. Professor, Dark Joker, here with another edition of Traditional Fans with Opinions, where I'll give my reviews for whoever I watched, read, or played today. And who are Traditional Fans with Opinions? That is myself, and that is you, the viewers. With all that being said, on with the reviews. The Secret of Skinwalker Ranch, Season 7, Episodes um, 10, 10 and 11. So in these episodes, the team monitors equipment at Homestead 2. 1.2 gigahertz signal appears and vanishes. Equipment's fried. There's like some radiation issues, so everyone has to leave. You know, so that screws experience. So like a signal from Homestead 3 that Eric triggers so they won't be detected by Travis. So the generators walked over, and so yeah, there's like a lot. So they analyze some materials in the mesa, try to figure out what's going on with all that. So basically, the experiment fails. Then after that, team studies the bubble. Try to deploy a drone. Drone doesn't work well. Um, so they gotta deal with that. And Travis gets sick, so he can't really you know, he's not able to be there in person for a lot of it. So yeah, so team, they do the test. Things go wrong, like every episode basically. So yeah, I that was interesting. I mean, I wish they were at like more was going on. Like that's kind of how it is. It's like they do a test, do some rockets or drones. Test fails because some anomaly. They don't find the anomaly. It's simply how it's gone. Hopefully, it improves. But yeah, overall, that was still decent. Looking forward to the next episode. Clevatess, Season 2, Episodes 3 and 4. So in these episodes, 1,000 years ago, Clevatess learns all his enemies are dead. You know, Zophathir explains, there's no one left as far as enemies go. And Alicia's pissed that Clint's spending time with Sarasa and Edison. This is back in the present. Now, students are keeping their distance from her except for Tygo and Leon, who tell her that Nathan's leaving school, and they ask for Alicia to work with them, and she agrees. Now Amelia learns what ended up actually happening to Nathan. Now Alicia's trying to get info, but no one wants to talk to her, so he asks Nate for help. And basically, so Alicia learns what Base's plan is, which is to cause a war against Estlin, with the school being like where the war would take place. Nate agrees to help her out, so Alicia can save the school, and Nate will get secrets in Doral's secret room in return. And so Uriel sends Owen to hide in Walker Luna Mountain. Now Luna is learning magic from with Nelru and Bala. Then some female student follows Clint, Sarasa, and Edison, and they're aware, and they just use decoys to throw her off. Clint reveals that Sarasa is Orchid, Summoness God Speaker, who's the next queen of the Orchids, and who didn't summon Zopthir, who reveals to Edison that Clint's actually Clevatess, and Zopthir controls Sarasa's body, and it's revealed that Edison's another demon lord named Rothwell, using a human body as a vessel. So they all talk about what happened with Forden. Softir explains the hero legend. Nell is also explaining that same legend to Alicia, who suspects Doral's aware of the book and knows that there's like more of them. So there's like basically there's a lot of spies in the school. Alicia tries to find the hit room, sees Andrew in a greenhouse, notices some snail, and is transported to whatever realm Nathan's in, and a skeleton traps her in a jar. Now, Alicia is revealed to be turned into a beast like Nathan was, and shrunk down, put in a jar by Andrew, who she sees as a skeleton, and can't reveal who she actually is. It's revealed that Dean's working for Vorden and was responsible for transforming Nathan and Alicia using the book of Toa. Vorden tells Dean to find the other books, including whichever one Clint has. Andrew keeps Alicia as a pet in his lab. Clint senses Alicia but can't find her. So Softy and Rothwell are determined to stop Forden. So Gart is with Zafir, and Softy and Rothwell retake their human disguises, and Clint removes the barrier that hides them. Now Alicia spends some days fighting spiders, and then comes across carnivorous plants in the lab. So, yeah. And apparently it's common for students to go missing. Some return, some don't. Has to do with like those who can't grow the crystals, turn into monsters. Alicia's expected to be the next victim. Nay's concerned about Alicia disappearing because she's concerned about potentially being punished for working with her. Now Nay tries to flee, but Clint catches her. Clint reveals his true form and makes Nay talk, and she becomes Clint's servant. Clint deduces that whoever, caused Alicia to disappear wants to book a Toa. So Clint then goes outside, summons a dark tower. Daresfield try to take the book from him. The whole Dark Tower was shown in the first episode, and a lot of these episodes have been flashbacks. Ray recognizes Clint, and Dean, understand what's going on, makes most of the students leave the scene. I guess prepare for this next battle. So we'll see how that goes. So yeah, the whole flashback's done. It's like the big battle's about to start. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, I thought these were good episodes. Looking forward to the next one. Thunder 3, episodes 3 and 4. So in these episodes, Yantaro, Hiroshi, and Subame not able to convince their alternate universe counterparts about their abilities to help them, fight the aliens and save Futaba. So they consult this universe's version of their teacher, Dr. Doc, and then they come across an alien taking a basically an ice cream cone from a human kid. While he's throwing it, when the ice cream falls, the alien kid cries, and its parent threatens to kill the humans. But the three, basically the three main lead characters, they use their powers to fight off the aliens. You know, then you have then there's a rebellion that's revealed. So it's focused on a guy named Segami. Basically, he's just some random guy. Basically, just wants to get laid. He sees a flyer. He sees some he sees some basically sees some girl, and then he gets a flyer about basically how it's some of those girls with basically women with F cup and above are there. So he goes there strictly for that reason. And he first thinks he's at some Yakuza trap, but it's revealed that, yeah, Yakuza are there, but it's actually for rebellion. So the girl we saw earlier, Mio, then a guy named Yamamoto recruits Segami to the rebellion. Its goal is to fight off the aliens with advanced weaponry. Now, now Futaba has like they're like not affected by the aliens observation tech, but can like just casually walks around. So we'll see how some things go. But yeah, I thought these were good episodes. Interested how they're building up the fight against the aliens. Looks like we're getting close to it. You know, animation's still a little jarring. Kind of wish it was in 2D, even if they were using different styles. But it's still a good show. So yeah, I thought these were good episodes. Looking forward to the next one. Rare King, episodes 3 and 4. So in these episodes, Ju Hyun um, goes into the tomb of Biramasa. It's like some snake thing, whatever. Does like a basically does like like a test for the sword. Basically, it's based around honesty. He passes. Then once he gets it, he stabs the monsters, able to subjugate it, and then the snake yields to him. Then he comes across Juhyun comes across Sasaki Yuka. Then he like follows him. And like basically then once he knows that she's can't be trusted, so he basically leaves and ends up at like this casino where he like is able to use his relic to win a lot of money, earning some suspicion, but once he's checked, they're like, all right, you're good. So he comes across a you know, basically he comes across this one lady, like who's like a basically I guess in his first timeline with like he'll bankrupt people and all that, nations, corporations, whatever. But she seems to be a really nice person, but everyone around her has a bad luck streak. So during this auction, he decides to befriend her and use like the auction to her like to his advantage. It's when he first tries to avoid her because he knows about what happened, but due to her appearance, a lot of guys are like, dude, you're, it was like, dude, you're really screwing. Like, it's funny. But yeah, I thought it was yes, the woman's name is like Irene Helton. She's like a rich girl who has her from who gets her like as the only evil. But Ji-hyun thinks she like maybe was just like the relic was controlling her. Maybe that's what happened. So we'll see how all that goes. But yeah, I thought it was a good. Um, I thought it was a. These were good episodes. They're gradually building these characters, setting up the conflict over the relics. You know, things are about to go down. So yeah, I thought these were good episodes. Looking forward to the next one. The Hill season 15. So this season, basically, continues the show. Hank and Peggy are like retired. So you have, basically slice of life. So you have, Hank tries to figure out who parked an electric truck outside of his house to reveal to be gift Nancy got from like the network or whatever. And Dale was kind of like not wanting to talk about it. And Bobby has to deal with Shane learning about him dating Connie. Then you have, Hank and Peggy get a new dog named Caesar, and it's revealed that Laybird is dead, which most people assume because Laybird was old in the early seasons. So safe to say we were expecting Laybird to pass away. Good dog. May that dog rest in peace. And Bobby tries to get Con and Ming to like basically be civil with each other for Connie's birthday because they hate each other and they don't really like the fact that Bobby's dating Connie. They have a whole of Hank falls to a phone scam while Bobby's vacationing with Joseph, and then leads to Bobby learning about responsibility and him helping build up Hank's confidence. And then Hank tries to help Bobby uh, work a food truck at Comic Con. Let's just say Hank does not interact well with people at the con. Hank like mocks them as like freaks, whatever. Then he watches this one sci-fi movie, gets very moved by it, and it basically makes peace with all of them. And Peggy and Min do a poetry class together. Min gets a date. Peggy accidentally almost ruins it. Well, ruins it when she's trying to use Min's darkness to help with her writing. And Peggy and Hank go to a marriage retreat that Nancy and Dale are running. Yes. And now the pastor somehow did not know about Nancy's affair with John Redcorn, which was back on at least by the time season 14 started. And so Hank and Peggy, they're given they're named the new leaders of the retreat. But then they're in like when the boat starts sinking, where Dale drops the tools, so Dale and Nancy guide everyone back to shore, and they're given back control of the marriage retreat, which somehow was actually good for their marriage. And then, Nancy ends the affair with John Redcorn. And, Hank helps Peggy go through menopause. And, it's revealed one thing happened. So, Con Pearly moved out of Min's garage and became Bill's roommate. That's something that's going on. You have, one episode where Boomhauer tries to bond with his girlfriend's son, Luke Jr., through raising chickens. Yeah, yeah. And Luke Jr. is having trouble making friends. He opens up more, comes out of his shell. He's raising chickens. And Bill tries to do some subtle therapy. So Hank, Dale, and Boomhauer try to get him out of that. And Peggy accidentally causes a restaurant critic to intentionally give Bobby a bad review. Then you have Dale, Boomhauer, Bill shoot a Civil War cannon, break a statue. So they gotta deal with that. Bobby tries to do a reality show called King of the Grill, but it ends up causing problems. His relationship with Connie and with like some of his coworkers. So when he first auditioned, he had to intentionally act like a prick, and he decided not to do that. But once the producer learned he was like only 21, she said that they could sell the young chef thing, and then like with this one other young chef that's on the show, producer asked him to do a will they won't they thing, and that causes issues with Connie. But Bobby says he's gonna choose Connie over that, and so Connie and Bobby are considering moving in together, and then you know it's real what caused Hank to move to Saudi Arabia. Basically, Buck chose his illegitimate son Ray Roy to succeed him as manager of Strickland Propane over Hank. Hank got pissed and quit. Then he gets a job, you know, in Saudi Arabia with Aramco, and then and basically when while Hank was looking for a job in that flashback, Bobby got a job at Whataburger, found a passion for cooking, decided to become a chef. He lives with Luann and her family. While Hank and Peggy are in Saudi Arabia, and that eventually, of course, to Bobby finding his restaurant, and then Hank basically always runs Strickland Propane to the ground. Hank's old coworkers convince him to talk to Buck. Buck begs Hank to come back, help him fire Ray Roy. Hank instead buys 51% of the company and becomes the owner and manager of Strickland Propane. So the propane stuff's about to come back. See, I like this season. Like, it's good. It's freaking. Some of the jokes are freaking funny. Like Bobby's blue hair phase was interesting. It was actually kind of funny. You know, I thought it was dude, the whole deal of Hank going to Dale for advice about how to avoid it being scammed is hilarious. Because honestly, Dale actually probably be good person to go to about that. Because he is very paranoid. And basically you have it was hilarious. Yeah, when Hank walks in on Bobby and Connie having sex, and like yeah, he basically then it was what the heck? I was like, Hank's like, you lock, and I'm with Hank. They should lock the door. But yeah, this is overall a good season. So yeah, I like this episode. This season. Looking forward to the next season. Relief Force. Um, this is a new show on Netflix. It's a French show about the GIGN. Basically, it's like spec ops, like cops. So main characters, you have David Karen, who's like a veteran, and you have Max, who's the son of David's dead friend Lawrence, and basically David have been trying to keep Max out of the GIGN at the request of Max's mother Nathalie. So David was about to retire, but when Max made it in, he decided to stay in to watch over him, causing tensions with his family. And so he deal with this one terrorist who wants to get revenge on GIGN for the death of his daughter who died in a bombing, same bombing that killed Lawrence. And when Max and David find the guy reveals that David left Lawrence behind to die in the explosion. David confronts Max confronts David about it and learns that um basically basically the blast or whatever just shut behind them. Basically he and Lauren were having some tensions because so Lauren learned that he couldn't have kids, so that meant he wasn't Max's father. David told him that he and Nathalie had an affair, and that's what led to Max being born. And David's trying to take the heat for the death of the terrorist because let's say it was unsanctioned. So they were able to Max confesses to his role in it. So they're both basics of both are suspended. David basically spent until an early retirement. So he's basically fired. Max is you know, basically his fate's to be decided. But then Earl's mother, who's working with the father, takes David Starr hostage. David Max with the GIG and the freer. They're able to save the hostages, but then David's wife is killed in a car bombing, and that's the end of the show. So yeah, I thought it was good. I liked how they showed the GIGN, how they do their training, their operations, and how the characters interact with each other. I thought it was all pretty good. So yeah, I like this show. Hopefully there's a season two.
And that's it. Did y'all like the stuff I reviewed? And if you have your own opinions about all that, you can put all that in the comments. Thank you for watching, and like, subscribe, and all that. And look forward to the next video.